This is TribeArc Nation, and we're just here to introduce to you what we're trying to do at TribeArc Nation. We launched last year actually, and we're trying to do a relaunch now. And between last year and now, it's been amazing. There's been a lot of progress. We've made massive progress at TribeArc Nation. And so that's why we've invited our family and friends of TribeArc to that we can reintroduce TribeArc to you and to show you exactly the vision of TribeArc. And some of you have heard about the name TribeArc, but it doesn't really mean much to you because you know it as a school. Some of you know it as a secondary school. Some of you know it as an email platform online. Some of you have encountered TribeArc as a digital platform. But these are the different shades of TribeArc. But what is really TribeArc and what are we trying to do? All right, and that's why we've invited you here tonight to be a part of the relaunch of TribeArc Nation. All right, so what is TribeArc Nation? I was with a friend of mine last week. She came back from the US to, have to attend the burial of her in-law, and I was asking her that, she was saying Nigeria is. She's been hearing about how Nigeria has been so hard, a lot of hardship in the land, economic downturn, and all of that. I said, yes, it's true. If you look at how much anything was sold last year and what is being sold now, is a massive gap between the prices of things. Things have skyrocketed almost 3 times. They've tripled overnight. That's the truth. So everything is actually quite expensive right now. But the truth is that even with all of this economic hardship, I believe that Nigerians can actually come together to make a change, or they can shape their own future by their own choices. All right. Because if every one of us keeps saying, no, we want a change that can come from top down, meaning that we want a political change first, before we see a cultural change or we see an economic change, we can wait forever, because that way we don't have control. We know that we don't have control over our political system in Nigeria. As today, we go for elections, and really, even though we think our election counts, to some extent, it doesn't. We've seen several elections in Osun State and some other states that till now we're still struggling to ensure that our votes really count. So what are we going to do? What can we do without a political change? We can actually, start a process of economic change whereby we come together as a people and we start creating the kind of life that we want to see ourselves live by ourselves, by our own choices. What I mean is that a lot of people leave Nigeria because there is a standard of living that they get to have by living in the UK or by living in the US or Canada, Australia, or anywhere they go to in the world, Germany, and everywhere Nigerians go to. There is this minimum standard of living. There's this comfortable life that you believe that if I put in 9 to 5, Monday to Friday for 6 months in a particular country, the earnings I am entitled to have gives me access to some basic amenities of life, like maybe a car loan, maybe a mortgage, housing mortgage, maybe gives me access to capital, give me 24/7 electricity supply, give me access to parks and environment that is friendly, can support your dream. As a matter of fact, an average Nigerian believes that they cannot achieve their dreams in Nigeria, right? An average Nigerian believes that if he remains in it, which is true to some certain extent, because we've seen dreams being killed in Nigeria every day. I can give you stories upon stories of startups that have packed up, that have folded up because of the Nigerian economy or the Nigerian system. Might not even be the economic situation, because these startups have raised money, they have money, so it's not really economic situation, but sometimes it's just the government policy. They just wake up and just pass a bill and it kills the entire startup, or there is a government in town that just wants to compete with that startup and create a rival and legislate against a lot of that. So we've seen that really to achieve your dreams in Nigeria might be very tough. All right, but I still believe, like I said, I still believe that we've seen countries like Singapore, even though there is a political change first before the country changed. There was a prime minister in the name of Lee Kuan Yew who came to be, and then he was able to kind of enforce the changes they want to see in society. But we can't keep waiting for that. That's what I'm saying. We can't keep waiting for that political change to happen. I believe we can start from bottom up. While we are still pushing for a top to bottom change, we can also push from bottom up. And how can we do that? We can pool our funds together. We can create a kind of pool of capital whereby we can start creating the kind of life we want to see. So, for instance, In other countries, like I said, you have access to, say, housing mortgage, right, where you can pay over a long time. What if we can create such a system by ourselves? We might not be able to start by doing this for a lot of Nigerians as a goal, but we can do it for maybe the middle class, maybe even a selective group of people that want to be part of this dream. All right, so we can pull our resources together. We can save collectively as a cooperative, as an organization, as a corporation. We can pull these funds and create real estate cities that is accessible to our own members. We can create hospitals, we can create schools, we can create hotels, hospitality. We can go into different organizations and create companies that can actually give us the economic power to create the life that we want to see ourselves live in Nigeria. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be tough. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But if we see on the long term, if we see that this is something we can do on the long term, in the next 20 years, in the next 30 years, if we put our mind to doing this, I believe, because in the space of the last 5 years to 10 years, I've been personally, thinking about this dream, thinking about how possible this can be. And in the last 5 to 10 years, I can see that this is possible, because in the last 10 years, I can see how much progress I have made, in building some things myself in Nigeria. And we are still in Nigeria, and I've built some things in Nigeria. So what if, apart from just one man, we come together as a group and we're able to do a lot more? Imagine we have people that have even built a lot of wealth in Nigeria. We have Dangote, we have Bishop Oyedepo, we have people that have massive wealth. But what if, instead of that being built by, a certain set of individuals, that same kind of wealth is built by a group of people, where you are part owner of everything that is, accessible to that one man. All right. If individuals can build that kind of wealth, I don't think it's impossible for a group of people to build the same kind of. And if you look at other countries, there are examples. All right. I was reading today on my phone around 2 p.m. today. I was reading a group in India about it's called Sahara Group. All right. It's a group that started about 1978 when the man started the organization, and they built over time in a space of 40 years or so. They were able to build wealth that they were probably the second largest employer of labor in the entire India. They were employing over 1.2 million at a point, as active staff, workforce, paying salary every month. All right, apart from the railway in India, Indian Railway, Sahara Group is probably the second largest employer of labor. So if that can happen, we know how many people that Dangote is employing in Nigeria. All right, we know this is probably one of the largest employer of labor, apart from the civil service, government workforce. All right, so I'm saying, if we put our house together, put our minds together, bring a group of people together with a collective vision of building wealth together collectively in Nigeria, in the next 30 years, we can actually create the kind of wealth we want to have. We can create the kind of environment we want to have. We can create the kind of systems we want to see. We can create the kind of people we want to shape and the kind of culture we want to shape in the society. How do we do this? How? Let me start. So, TribeArc is the vehicle that I'm proposing we use. All right, and TribeArc is like I said, is a group of people that are coming together because they believe that they can shape their own future by their own choices. All right, that's what TribeArc Nation stands for. And we are going to come together. We started last year, like I said, we launched last year quietly, covertly, on the ground, and we started building. And today, we've been able to have, we have a secondary school, we have an institute of technology, we have about 2 digital platforms, and then we have an agency, a software development agency, and then we have an outsourcing firm. That's about 6 organizations in the last 3 to 5 years. All right, and then all of these we brought together under one umbrella called TribeArc last year, and we brought a couple of friends into this organization. All right, but this is not supposed to be a friend and family organization. It's supposed to be a publicly accessible organization. But how do you access it? I'm going to share that later in my slide. But the first thing you have to understand is that this is a group of people that are coming together because they believe they can change the kind of life that they live today in Nigeria. They can change their own future in Nigeria. They don't believe they want to relocate. They don't want to relocate. They will travel. They will go everywhere else in the world. They will visit, go on vacation, have businesses all over, but they are not planning to relocate out of Nigeria. These are the kind of people I'm talking about. They are the people that belong to TribeArc. TribeArc Nation is a group of people. They believe in Nigeria. They believe they can make a change in Nigeria. They believe they can shape their own future in Nigeria without necessarily relocating out of Nigeria, in the next 20 to 30 years. And we'll see how that pans out. All right. So how do we do this? How do we shape our own future by our own choices? The way we do this is that we're going to come together and create businesses first, because we need economic power to be able to create the kind of life we want to live. All right. So that's the first thing. We need economic power. So we're going to pull our funds together with the goal of investing in businesses and enterprises that guarantees our return on investment. All right. And that's what we're going to do. And our vision is simple. We want to build a nation where everyone would desire to live, work, and raise a family. That's our vision as TribeArc Nation. Don't forget that this is TribeArc Nation. We have TribeArc schools, we have TribeArc capital, we have TribeArc university, we have TribeArc different things, but they are under the umbrella of TribeArc Nation. TribeArc Nation is like the foundation. That's where the people that drives the vision come together in one platform. All right. So TribeArc Nation has its own vision, while other organizations that we're going to spin up, we have their own individual vision. But the vision for TribeArc Nation is to build a nation. That's why we call it TribeArc Nation. It's a nation, right? It's a group of people with common belief, with a common mindset, to build a nation where everyone could be every member of TribeArc. All right. Might not be everyone in Nigeria, but every member of TribeArc wants to build a nation where you would desire to live the same life, the same standard of living that you want to travel to Canada to have, the same standard of living you want to have in the US or in Australia or in the UK. We want to create that level of standard of living for ourselves in Nigeria. Like I said, if we're going to start with a group of people, we can't do this for Nigeria because we are not the president, right? Even the president can't create this kind of life overnight. But we want to come together as a group, and we want to create the kind of life that we will aspire to have in other nations right here in Nigeria for ourselves. And how do we do that? Our mission is to build the first world nation within the next 30 years, starting 2025 officially. We launched last year. We've done all the groundwork. We've set about 4 to 6 organizations running already. All right. So, but now we want everyone to be able to access this starting 2025. I will tell you more about the registration process. But our mission is to build a first world nation within the next 30 years, starting from 2025, through our 257 companies that will serve and lift the average TribeArc citizens out of poverty and give them a guaranteed future. Right now, no matter who you are, if you are working in Nigeria today, you don't have a full guarantee of a future. Most people believe that not anything can happen that will just, cut off their dreams in Nigeria. They believe that, the that be can change something today, and everything that you believe to be, stable or working. Last year, we never believed that dollar would be almost 1,500, and that has literally crashed some businesses overnight. So some people that believed in something 5 years ago, they believe that, this business is going to make sense. Maybe they are importing, they're into car importation, and they are believing that, they are making sense. As they're importing all the cars, they're making money, building houses. Right now, the business is probably grounded because they can't even import again because of the dollar to naira exchange. So what I'm saying is, how can we build a nation in the next 30 years through our organizations that will guarantee you a future and a hope, a dream that is alive? All right, that's what our mission is. And this is 2045, February 12, 4 p.m., 20 years anniversary. And what are we going to achieve in 20 years from now? We're going to have, like I said, 257 companies. I know why I'm saying 257 because it's a peculiar number, right? And we're going to have, by 20 years' time, 400,000 people working with us directly as our staff, with over $100 trillion in assets. All right, and that's our headquarters with that picture there. All right, that's what our headquarters look like. And what are we going to go into? We're going to be known as the Africa's largest industrial and financial group, operating in finance, in commerce, in technology, in retail, and in education space. We're going to go to a whole lot more, a whole lot more than that. But we're going to start with this sector. Today, we're already playing in the education space. We have a school. In fact, 2 schools. We have a secondary school, and then we're going into the tertiary education system by next year. We're starting an Institute of Technology. All right. And then today we are playing in the technology space. We have 2 digital platforms, a loan management system, and an email marketing platform. Today we are already playing in the finance space. Like I said, we have a loan business, a loan management system that can allow any microfinance bank to operate better. All right. So we're playing in the finance space today. We are playing in the education space today. We are playing in the technology space today. In coming years, we're going to go into every other sector. And why are we going into all this sector? Because we want to create, like I said, the economic power that does not necessarily belong to one man as we've seen today, but it can spread across. And this economic power will give us the power to create the life that we want to see. With this wealth that we have, gotten from our businesses, we can spin up our hospitals, we can spin up our own banks, we can spin up our own schools, more schools in rural areas. We can spin up several organizations that can make the life of the average TribeArc citizen easier. We can allow car loans to be taken from our organizations. We can allow, mortgages, over 20 years mortgage, because we have the resource to do that. We can build real estate and allow our members to access those real estate for, down deposit payments and pay over 10 years, over 20 years. These things are available today, but they are not accessible to the average Nigerian. It's not like they are not accessible, they are not available. I know that there are government organizations that give mortgages, that's in charge of mortgage in Nigeria, all right? But how many average Nigerians can access these facilities, all right? So, but with TribeArc, our members will be able to access all of these things that they are looking to get in other countries, all right? Like I said, we're going to have our own university, and our university is not going to be like the regular university, because anybody that goes through our university system, our educational system, is going to be trained to work in our own companies, because we want to shorten the distance between training, creating, and earning. Because right now, today, people go to learn, but they can't create. And if you can't create, you can't earn. Right? And anything you're learning that you cannot create with will not help you to be profitable. You cannot earn anything from it. So we want to shorten that distance. We're going to start, schools that can help you in 2 years, in 1 year. You can learn something that is relevant in the industry. You can walk straight into internship process, and from there you are in a full-time employment. That's a very simple 2 years program. All right, and we are already doing that through one of our, our programs, IT Skill Center today, and we're seeing a lot of people, that have moved from within a space of 6 months. They've gone through a program, go into internship, and go get a full-time job, and it's working. All right, we can replicate that and scale that up, as a university program, and it's going to work. That's what I'm saying, and we can, and this can enable us to have talents that can function in the agri sector, in the banking system, in the technology space, and all the different enterprises we are going to start. All right, this is our organizational structure in TribeArc, which you can download from our website. I will not, spend more time on that. But what is our goal as I wrap up? Our ultimate aim is that every member of TribeArc is financially free at the end of the day. That is our aim. Survivor mode. Every Nigerian I know their mind is in survivor. When I mean survivor, you are living to want to make ends meet. You are living to want to pay your bills. All you're doing every day is thinking about how to pay your bills. If every day that you wake up, you are thinking about your bills, then you are in survivor mode. That's survivor. Once you are thinking about bills every day, how do I make enough money to cover for my bills? Whether to send money to your parents, whether to pay for your lights, whether to pay for your data, and all of the bills that you are in your transportation and all the bills. But you are literally living every day to want to pay bills. Every paycheck you take is to cover for your bills. I know you are doing that every day. You are in survivor mode. And when you are operating in survivor mode, you cannot be creative. It's a known fact. You can't be creative. Innovators, creative people don't function in survivor, because survivor means you're just trying to live by. You're just trying to go by every day. And you can't think outside of the box in that mode. So you need to live above survivor, where you are not thinking, how do I make ends meet? When money is not a problem for you, and that is our ultimate aim. We want to elevate the financial status of all our members, our citizens of TribeArc, to ensure that they are not functioning as survivor mode, and they can be creative. They can start innovating, because they are the ones that will run the organizations that we are starting, and they are the ones that will ensure that these organizations are succeeding and are successful. And the only way for any organization to be successful is to be innovative and be creative. And that's what we're going to do. So when they're financially free, they will be innovative, they'll be creative, and to lead to more productivity, more product, more services, more solutions, more money, more financial breakthrough, more financial freedom for everyone. All right, that's it. And every member, I like the word every Nigerian, but like I said, our goal is not for over 200 million Nigerians first, because we can't do that. We're not the government. All right, but every member of TribeArc can safely, freely, and proudly decide to live in Nigeria with confidence of a future and a hope for future generations. Today, most people relocate. They will tell me, most of my friends have left Nigeria because they say, I'm doing it for my child. I'm relocating because of my children, all right, so that they can have a better education, better environment, better this, better. I tell you, it's a lie. Even though I live for their children, but you are doing it for yourself too. It's not just for your children. But the truth is that I agree with them, because if they also see that their child or children have a hope, there is a future for them in Nigeria, they will stay. Right? So that means that an average middle class, good salary earner in Nigeria does not believe there is a future for their children in Nigeria, which is bad. That is bad. Like, most people relocate because most people send their children to study abroad because they believe that there is no hope for them if they study in Nigeria. So these are critical things that we need to change. These are the future that I'm talking about shaping. We need to shape and change this narrative. We need to be able to create a future for our children in Nigeria. How many people can send their wards out of Nigeria to study? How many people can relocate, out of Nigeria because of their children? We need to change that narrative. We need to be able to create a future for our children in Nigeria. And that is what we are going to do at TribeArc. What is our anchor? We don't believe we can do this by ourselves. The Bible says that with God, all things are possible. With God. That means with us partnering with God, this is possible. If we don't partner with God, it's impossible. I believe, and like I said, there is nothing that I've ever imagined since I've been growing up, since 2010 thereabout, that I've left school, 2009. Everything even before then, everything I've ever imagined to do since that time till now, I have seen it done. Every single thing. There is nothing that my mind has imagined that I've not seen done. So the same faith that has pulled all the things that I've achieved so far from 2010 till date, I believe the same faith can bring this TribeArc Nation to reality. It's already even a reality. But I believe what I'm saying, I see a future where in 30 years from now, every member of TribeArc, when I say member, every citizens of TribeArc will go to any country without visa. I see that time coming where you will not need to go to US embassy to go and queue for a visa, because they just know that these people that belong to this TribeArc thing, they are different. They are wealthy. They want to go and spend their money where they are going. They are not relocated, because every embassy you go to, what they are looking for is your connection to your home country. That's what they want to verify. That's what, once they can confirm that you will go to their country and come back to your home country, they will give you a visa. Right? So they believe that when Nigerians go for visa, they lie, they go to those countries and disappear. Even though they went for tourist visa or business or pleasure, whatever it is, they disappear to things, and they don't want to, because they believe they can have a better life over there more than their home country. So they want to stay. But if every member of TribeArc has built wealth in Nigeria, their children are here, they believe in the future of Nigeria. They are not just believe now in 30 years, they actually live in a life that the standard of living for them is way better than the standard of living they can have in the US. They don't want to go there. So when they are saying they want to visit the US, you don't need to give them a visa, because they know, the embassy knows, the government knows, everybody knows that if you are a member of TribeArc, you don't want to stay outside of your country. You just want to visit for whatever reason and come back. All right. So that is the kind of future I see, where our standard of living has been so elevated that everywhere we want to go, people want to work with us, people want to be with us, people want to associate with us, people want to just associate with that brand, TribeArc, because they know that they are a different set of breed. And this is possible because Bible says they are one people and they have all one language. And this is only the beginning of what they plan to do. And nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. That's in Genesis 11:6, when the people came together and they said they wanted to build a tower that will reach the skies. All right, that was an ambition, a dream that they had. And they went for it, and God himself said, if I leave these guys alone, because they are of one mind, this is going to be something they will achieve in no time. The same thing, TribeArc is calling people of one mind, of one language, of one mindset, of one vision together. We are coming together today to start a journey of 30 years, that in 30 years, when you see us, even God will say, yes, these people, what they propose to do will now be, there is nothing that they propose to do that will be impossible for them. That is the vision of TribeArc. All right. So thank you for joining me on this journey. And like I said, a lot of people have already been a part of this. They joined last year, but we are opening up officially to the public in January of 2025. So from now to 2025, January 1st, we're going to be telling you all the different processes that you will have to go through to be a member. Because like I said, we have to be sure of your vision, of your personality, of your mindset, because we can't bring everybody in at this point because it's very sensitive. Some people can come in with a different mindset and just scatter everything we're trying to do. We want to make sure you are one language. You believe in what we're trying to do. You share our common dreams. You believe in what we're trying to do here, and you want to go with us on this journey. And that is what qualifies you to be a member of TribeArc. Once you believe in what we're trying to do and you want to join us, we will ask you questions, and then when we verify that membership belongs to you, and I can tell you the future is only better for me. I can see it clearly. I can see clearly a time where, you know, you don't have to be afraid. They say there's insecurity in Nigeria. TribeArc, you will not have to be afraid with TribeArc, because at the click of a button on your phone, we locate where you are, we'll come and pick you up if you are scared. If anybody wants to harass you, we will locate you, and you just send a shopper to come and pick you up. All right, somebody, anything talking about health, you have cardiac arrest, or you have anything, you pinch your button on your phone, an ambulance will show up at your doorstep. These are things that we can do ourselves. We don't need the government. We don't have to wait for the government to do all of this. We just need to pull ourselves together, pull our funds together, create the systems, put it in place, and activate these things. We can activate ambulance system, we can activate security systems, we can activate, you know, financial systems to ensure that our dreams becomes possible in Nigeria. So thank you very much for listening to me and for joining me on this journey. Like I said, you can visit our website, TribeArc.org, to learn more about us and to see how you can join the wait list for 2025, January the 1st. That is when membership will be open to the public. But thank you for staying tuned. I believe you've learned a lot and you believe in what we're trying to do. See you in the next video, where I will tell you more on how you will be a part of TribeArc.